Hey family, I'd like to talk about the generations today. Generation gaps. Now, a generation is a group of people that were born roughly at the same time. They are usually grouped in a 20-year time interval. So I came across the greatest generation, which is the GI generation. They were born 1901 to 1927. This generation lives through the Great Depression and then went off to fight World War II. Notably, they popularized jazz and swing music, but don't be fooled by the wild provocations of the music of the times. Due to the current events of this generation, raising a family put a premium on traits like hard work and grit. The silent generation, they were born 1928 to 1945. The silent generation famously got their name for being so conformist that they were silent through the McCarthy era when the fear of communism swept the country. During this era, kids were expected to earn their way through life using strong work ethics. The generation after that are the baby boomers. They were born 1946 to 1964. Gen Z may think the baby boomers as their out-of-touch grandparent. Okay, boomer. But they had a wild youth when we often don't talk about it. Boomers are so named after their parents came home from World War II and the American population exploded. Baby boomers they defied their parents. They protested the Vietnam War and created the Summer of Love. Everyone's heard of Woodstock. The boomer parents notably redefined parenting by being the first generation to look at their kids' perspectives of growing up, and they started the concept of having family meetings. Now, Generation X, they were born 1965 to 1980. They are so often dismissed as the slacker generation. Generation X lived through the AIDS epidemic, MTV culture, a shifting cultural landscape that would give rise to what we have now, the LGBTQ rights. Now, that probably started in 1920 with the Roaring Twenties or the Great Twenties, but that'll be another video. Generation X parents were famously the first to use helicopter parenting styles. Unlike their boomer parents, who famously let their kids stay outside until the street lights came on, well, it turns out that Generation X did stay out until the street lights came on. They would travel towns over, maybe states over, but they would finally be back when the lights came on. Generation X parents have a tendency to be far more involved than the other generations with their children's social and educational development. The millennial generation, or Generation Y, they were born 1981 to 1996. Millennials that lived through the 9/11, they remember when Amazon only sold books, and also the first generation to know childhood, both with and without internet, which now plays a significant role in the personal lives of theirs. While boomers may accuse millennials of being self-centered and entitled due to their excessive use of technology, this generation has proven to actually be incredibly community-oriented and environmentally conscious, which are the traits that are being picked up by their children in the next generation. That next generation is Generation Z, or the iGen. They were born 1997 to 2010. While still youngsters and not old enough to have made their mark on the generation, Generation Z kids are the first to be born in the world where they knew nothing else besides being constantly connected to one another, albeit through phones, screens, and tablets. The generation after that, that's Generation Alpha, which was born 2010. In 2019, Adagio identified kids born in 2010 as part of the Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha is the first generation of kids who will never know a time when social media didn't exist, and they are far more tech savvy than any generation previously, which is a powerful tool that can change humanity in a myriad of positive ways. The rise of one and done family. It may be too soon to peg the alphas, at this moment for what they do based on how little we know about them so far. However, there are a few things that we can understand. They are some of the first generations born around COVID-19 pandemic. They're more diverse than any other generation, and they're more likely to be in a single parent household. Like generations, or like the other generations that came before them, every passing year will shape the cultural perception of who they are. In the meantime, parents get the pride and honor to help guide them in making the best choices possible. Now that's a list of the generations. I am going to go into part 2, which will be about the groups of indigos and crystal children and rainbow children. I believe that will be spread in a 3-part series. But the next series will be part 2, will be the groups of indigos. I love you guys in Lakesh. And if you find something you resonate, or you find something that someone else can resonate, please share on. Thank you guys.